Everyone, I'm showing 28 participants and it's 3 o'clock. I like to start on time if we can.
That's great.
So are we ready, Mr. Patrick? Dr. Patrick?
Yes, so I will do the roll call here. I'll try to speak up if I have a little audio problem here. Harris County Commissioner Adrian Garcia, please indicate if you're present. I did not hear a response. I see Dr. Carol Lewis.
Yes.
Metro Chair Karen Patman.
Patrick, this is Tom Lambert. I know she's joining in, so, but we're on the line.
Thank you, Tom. HGAC Executive Director Chuck Wemple.
Here, Patrick. Thank you.
Thank you. Liberty County, David Douglas. City of Houston, Councilmember David Robinson. TxDOT District Engineer Eliza Paul.
I am here.
Hey, Eliza.
Hi.
Thank you. Fort Bend County Commissioner Grady Prestige. City of Sugar Land Mayor Joe Zimmerman.
I'm here, Patrick. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Waller County Commissioner Justin Beckendorf. City of League City Council Member Larry Milliken.
I'm here.
Thank you, Council Member. Montgomery County Judge Mark Keel. City of Waller Council Member Nancy Arnold.
I'm here.
Thank you, Council Member. Port of Houston Executive Director Roger Gunther. Harris County Flood Control District Executive Director Russ Poppy.
Good afternoon, I'm here.
Thank you. Ex officio House of Representatives Chad Thompson. We have 7 members out of 15.
So well, let's just hold a minute. We need another one. So Commissioner Garcia, Chair Patman, and did Councilmember Robinson answer?
Did not.
Okay, so between those 3, I'm sure one of them will join us shortly. So we are on hold, folks, until we get another member on. So thanks to everyone. I guess, if we think about what should we talk about during the time we have, can we believe that there's another hurricane, barreling in between Lake Charles and Lafayette?
Delta. Yep.
Those poor people in Lake Charles, my goodness.
Absolutely. Kind of unbelievable. You haven't continued cleaning up from the first one, and then here you come again.
I saw an aerial photo of Lake Charles, and it was just a sea of blue tarps.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There's our next one. So we now have enough.
Okay. All right. So Dr. Patrick, would you like to confirm for us, please?
Yes, so Metro Chair Karen Patman, I see you're present.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. So we do have a quorum.
All right, so we are ready to go forward. Thanks all of you again for being on. Dr. Patrick, you want to take us to our second item, please, on our agenda?
Yes. So we received one public comment, and that is from Air Alliance, and I have Ms. Kim from our staff to summarize the comment. It is uploaded to the website.
Thank you, Patrick. Good afternoon, everyone. I have a comment from Air Alliance Houston, and they have stated that they have some various concerns they would like to put forward to the MOU Workgroup. One being, I'm just going to read them off. So, ignoring localized air quality impacts, TxDOT claims that regional impacts will be significant, despite the fact that the fuel efficiency regulations TxDOT's analysis rely on are being actively rolled back. Additionally, TxDOT's analysis assumed any congestion benefits front the project will be maintained indefinitely. So there was one concern. Another concern, predominantly low income and minority communities along the corridor would bear the brunt of the displacements and environmental impacts of an inadequate project. We believe the current language of the MOU would allow TxDOT to continue with the project without addressing these concerns. Chief among the concerns were designing alternative methods of adding mobility, drastically limiting right-of-way expansion, and mitigating environmental impacts. Mayor Turner's letter in May did an excellent job outlining Vision C, which would address these issue areas, all of which challenge TxDOT's core elements of the project. And then another being language regarding the FEIS. We asked that the clause be removed and that more specific language defining TxDOT's commitments to collaborate on requests from the city replace it. In addition, we asked that the MOU include language specifying the mechanisms to withdraw funding for the project should the TxDOT fail to address the asks of the community. And the full comment can be seen on our website. And that was the only comment that was sent in.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Neely. I want to remind people, if you could make sure that your microphones are muted while we're going on with the meeting, we'd most appreciate that. Dr. Patrick, if you'd like to, let's open it up to other folks who might be on the Zoom.
Yes, so if you'd like to make a public comment, please raise your hand. If you're on Zoom, you should be able to raise your hand by pressing the raise hand button. Or if you're logging in through the teleconference system, please press *9 to raise your hand, and we'll be able to unmute you and let you make a public comment. So right now I do see Mr. Neely Hart. So Greg, can you unmute and let him speak?
Yes. Neil, you had to unmute yourself. There you go.
Got it. Okay, thanks. Good afternoon, committee. My name is Neil Ehart. I'm a member of Stop TxDOT I-45. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Today, I would like to talk about typical sections and trust. In the memorandum, TxDOT has committed to everything in the final environmental impact statement. That includes Appendix B, preferred alternative schematic, and typical sections. Now, Appendix B is 10 months old, so the public has had time to review it. One analysis of the preferred alternative concludes that the city of Houston will lose up to 6% of its annual budget due to the massive displacements. Mayor Turner and many other elected officials have requested a highway vision that is radically different from what TxDOT is proposing. That vision comes with some typical section drawings that are quite different from what we've seen in Appendix B. Now, Ms. Paul, you have promised that TxDOT will be able to make substantial changes to the freeway design after issuing the record of decision. And we want to trust you. But the typical section drawings in Appendix B make it very difficult. So in the interest of building trust with the public, I am asking that TxDOT please release some new typical section drawings. We need to understand what kind of alternatives are being considered. We simply don't know what is possible when constrained by the FEIS. And to the other parties present, I don't think it's appropriate to sign this memorandum without the new typical section drawings or a similar gesture of good faith by TxDOT. Thank you for your time today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ehart. So for those who would like to raise their hand, it's next to the, and I just lost your note, Ms. Martinez, it's next to the, where is this? Next to the something button. Next to the, sometimes it's, if you go to the chat, sometimes if you go to the bottom of the chat, the raise your hand button is there, I know sometimes.
Yeah, often in the participants section,
Yeah.
if you click on that, there's a raise hands option.
Yeah, there's a lot of iterations here.
All right, so the participants section or at the bottom of the chat section, look for the raise hand button.
This is Susan Graham, and I see no raise hand.
Okay.
Either next to the mute button or the chat. I apologize for that.
Go ahead, Ms. Graham.
Hi, this is good afternoon on this rainy afternoon, at least at my house. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I'm Susan Graham with Stop TxDOT I-45, and Stop TxDOT has a lot of issues and concerns regarding the content of the FEIS and also of this agreement. However, I wanted to talk today a little about the MOU agreement itself. TxDOT sees this agreement as our last real opportunity to have our voices and the voices of the community heard. The request of our mayor, county judge, and many other elected officials in the community to be seriously considered. First, we would like to commend the TPC and this group's support and commitment to this process. We also commend Dr. Carol Lewis, Chairman Patman, Councilmember Robinson, and Commissioner Garcia for their fight for our communities. However, we have many questions, concerns about this agreement being upheld going forward. This document is an agreement. The agreement talks a lot about mutual goals, common commitments, and cooperation amongst the parties. It all sounds really positive, but how is this going to work going forward? It's one thing to create an agreement, but yet another to ensure that the current agreement is upheld. This agreement relies solely on the commitment of the parties to adhere to the agreement and trust that they will comply. There's no mechanism to ensure that the agreement set out in the MOU will be upheld. There's nothing in this agreement that prevents TxDOT from moving forward with its preferred alternative once they obtain the record of decision. As this agreement currently stands, TxDOT's commitments are not in alignment with the other four parties on this agreement. Their insistence at the last meeting to only agree to what was in the FEIS is problematic. Residents of Houston and Harris County deserve better. The FEIS doesn't include requests Mayor Turner made in his detailed letter to Commissioner Ryan. It doesn't include the requests made by County Judge Hidalgo and many other elected officials and stakeholder groups. This MOU is the last chance for residents to be heard. Please don't sign this agreement until TxDOT's commitments are in alignment with the other parties and the request of the residents of Houston, Harris County, and its elected officials. Thank you so much for letting me speak today, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you for y'all being here for us. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Ms. Graham. Do we have anyone else? Mr. Seal, do you see any other raised hands, or Dr. Patrick?
Don't see any raised hands. Would you like to tell everybody once again, Patrick, how to do that? Just in case we have somebody that's struggling with it, maybe?
Yes, so if you would like to raise hand on the Zoom line, there should be a raise hand button on the participants, or you could speak up to let us know. If you're also on the toll-free phone line, you should be able to press *9 to raise hand, and we should be able to see and let you speak. I see one more hand up from 713-502-4932 number. Please go ahead if you're able to unmute.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm just getting off of my shift at the hospital.
Oh,
My name's Molly Cook. I just want to reiterate some of the same things I've said in front of you guys before. This just makes no sense. It makes no sense to build a project for cars rather than people. It makes no sense that we are encouraging people from the suburbs to bring cars into downtown when Houston is just starting to become a truly thriving, walkable place. It makes no sense to cover the entire place, all of the vibrant communities that exist along the corridor, with more concrete. It makes no sense for a city that floods to build bigger and bigger freeways. Austin looks terrible. It's covered in freeways, the whole drive-in, and we're about to move down that same path. If we're serious about how much we love our city and our region, we should find a way for people to move in and out of the town using less carbon, and in a way that's healthier, that encourages more people to walk around downtown, which will help businesses and help with our obesity problem. So it just still makes no sense to me why we're doing this. I really encourage you guys to reconsider the goals as far as moving cars rather than moving people. That seems like a really, really simple thing to think, you know, we're trying to move people. We're not trying to move cars. We're not a city of cars. We're a city of people. So thank you guys for listening. And I really, really urge you to withdraw your support for this project as it's drawn up, and or ask the TxDOT make some really, really serious changes to the project before we all agree to it. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Cook, thank you very much.
hey, I'm not seeing anybody else, Patrick.
Anyone else who would like to speak? You don't have to raise hand. Speak up if you would like to make a public comment.
Looks like Ani has her hand raised.
Ms. Blair, go ahead, please.
Hi, Dr. Lewis. Thank you so much for taking time to allow for public comment and for additional public comments than those were submitted. I just want to reiterate what I have also mentioned before, and we strongly urge the parties at the table to articulate the goals for the project that are shared across the parties. We have heard consistently from Harris County, the City of Houston, and Metro goals that go beyond moving people in cars, as Molly just mentioned, and maintaining that focus on what capacity means for people movement. Also, to be able to reiterate the many times that we've stated this before, it's so important that these goals reflect efforts to reduce the disproportionate and adverse impacts on communities of color and underserved or low-income communities. That is a statement that is already reflected in the documents that TxDOT has produced in the past, and we still see insufficient mitigation to address those historical issues as well as the ones that are introduced in this particular project as planned. It is important and vital, it is life-saving to the communities who live directly next to this project that those issues be addressed And we'd like to see in this commitment from the MOU committee that there are overarching goals that lead a path to address those in the future. We are not happy with the continued effort to push these things down the road and to not have specific commitments now. But we recognize that the MOU in this discussion is what we have and what is bringing the parties to the table right now. And so we very much hope that this commitment in its final form will be a parameter that commits to addressing those disproportionate impacts on communities of color and low-income communities. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Blair. All right, so we appreciate all the comments that we've had to date. We do hear you and are processing the things that you've said to us, and appreciate your being a part of this process. Dr. Patrick, do we have anyone else, or how are we looking here?
I'm not seeing anybody else.
Anyone else who would like to speak up?
All right, well, we'll
There's also
remind
raised
people.
hand
From
Scott.
Janice, yes.
Okay, Ms. Scott?
Ms. Scott,
Janet?
are you able to unmute and speak?
She will need to unmute herself.
Greg, will you be able to unmute her?
No, I'm sending her the thing to unmute, but I don't think she can figure it out, maybe. Janice, maybe you could put your comment in some sort of short form in the chat, perhaps?
So I want to remind people too that we did commit at our last meeting that we will have another session with this committee that will be totally focused on hearing from people. So if something doesn't quite work out for you today and trying to get yourself to the point where we can hear you, there will be an additional, and then obviously many after that. And I guess I would want to say too, please do not consider your talking to this committee as the last opportunity to make comments on this project. I will guarantee you that this is not.
Yeah.
This is the beginning, not anywhere near the end. So I just wanted to stress that to you, that don't consider this by any means.
It looks like she's unmuted. Go ahead, Janice.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to reiterate what Ani Blair just said and the extraordinary impact it will have on communities of color and people who have been in those neighborhoods for years. Where will they go? What will they do? We are about people, as the other lady said. We need to focus on the people and not the cars. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you,
Ms.
Janice.
Scott. We appreciate that. So I'm thinking we might be winnowing on that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. All right. Again, thank each of you. And again, if if you think of something, just remember there will be another opportunity. So this is not the last time that even the TPC will be gathering to hear your thoughts. All right, Dr. Mandapaka, are we ready for our Roman numeral 3, I believe it is at this point? I keep saying Roman numeral, but I don't think we use Romans. It's alphanumeric.
Yes, so we have received additional commitments from Texas Department of Transportation, and I have added those into the additional commitment section in blue here on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
We will be able to review that today. Rest of the items that we have reviewed in the previous meetings, we have turned them into green. And then also, in addition to that, there was a suggestion about the Transportation Policy Council's commitment on the support goals in Metro Next Plan to the extent they apply to NHHIP. we have added that and put that in green as well.
Okay.
So really today, we can focus on looking into the text dot section of the additional commitments.
Okay.
So
Madam Chair, if I could, before you begin, I just wanted to mention, Councilmember Robinson here, I have been listening, but had to leave City Hall to get on the call here at home. So glad to be with you, and thank you speakers for joining us today.
Awesome, great. Thank you. I also see Commissioner Garcia on as well. I think Commissioner Garcia, if you'd like to just make your presence known so we can ensure that you are counted here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am here, and thank you all for the conversation.
Okay, great.
Madam Chair, I missed the roll call also. This is Grady Prestige.
Perfect. Thank you, Commissioner. So, Ms. Paul, would you like to kind of kick us off with this section and things that you've added since we last talked?
Yes, Chairman Lewis, I will be happy to. And before we really go into it in more detail, I just have a little bit of housekeeping thing. I want to do some correction that I've noticed since we wrote on this, like on the third bullet points over there, and Patrick, maybe you can make those modifications. Commit to identify and highlight the elements that are clearly within our purview. I'm sorry, that's my non-English major here coming out of the woodwork. The other thing that I was also wanted to make a modification is down over there at the second to the last bullet, it talks about FEIS and ROD over there. So I was thinking the first bullet point, the tax out commitment in the FEIS will be better suited to be added after that second to the last bullet point over there. I think there will be a continuity that they talk about the ROD, and then the ROD commitments is down there at the second to, maybe after the second to the last bullet, after the FEIS bullet. I'm sorry. So I think it just kind of addressed it a little bit better. So just the overall quickly, and we can get into a little bit more. The first bullet, continue to have meaningful engagement with the public. That was in there originally. We did not make any changes on that. The second and third, and I listened to what you all say. You said go back and look at Commissioner Ryan's letter, and also go back and look at James Bass' letter that was addressed. And that's kind of what I did. I went back and looked at Commissioner Ryan. So the second bullet there, it says commit to identify and highlight the elements that are clearly within our purview. So that kind of addressed the phase one, how we are addressing those items that was brought up in the mayor's letter, and then work with the partnering stakeholders in identifying the course forward and detailing whether opportunities exist to continue to help shape the path. So that is kind of like the phase one of what we're trying to do there. And then the third bullet there, kind of the phase two of how we are addressing the letter and the ask and everything. Commit to providing an analysis and update specific to the requests that are not within our purview. These are the items that kind of maybe fall outside our right of way. We need additional agencies, maybe Harris County Flood Control, to work together to try and implement some of these work together. So work with other stakeholders, or maybe City of Houston for that matter, to implement some of these additional work. Work with other stakeholders in identifying collaborative strategies, committing to defending a process for the review of the additional defined elements. So that essentially addresses phase two of how we're going to attack some of these elements. And then the last one will be the phase three, commit to focus on the design request that needs more time to evaluate, and that will take the completion of certain process step and possibly additional research to fully understand the impact of a decision. So part of this there is the footprint element, the shrinking of the footprint and all that, that will require extensive traffic study analysis and other design elements that need to go in and look at all that before we can come up with a good solution. As somebody put it, a different cross-section of what that will look like. So that's the phase 3 approach there. So those are the 3 commitments. And I further address that this is really not a commitment as to more a making sure everybody understand that the FEIS and the subsequent record of decision, these are critical stage gauges in the environmental clearance process. You know, with the obtainment of the ROD, that is the step that we need in order for us to move further into some of these detailed design elements and design phases of the project, which is essentially not the same as what originally is in the schematic. I know we still have the original schematic in the FEIS, but we kind of bound by that until we get the RAW and we can look at, I mean, we are looking at it, but then we just cannot look at it before we obtain the RAW. You know, it's an important step in the process. So we have to get that before we can really go into the detailed design. So that's really more of a statement than a commitment, which is where we will have the opportunity to further explore and refine the mitigation measures. So that's really what that sets in there. And then some of the items are committed in the original FEIS. Granted, we cannot commit everything in the original FEIS, but there are some elements in there that we can commit to right now, and they are shown in the FEIS. So that's what that is trying to say over there. And then the last bullet point, I move it to the end. It was there originally, commit to judiciously identifying win-win opportunities to make the project reflect collectively best efforts of the MOU parties. So that was in there originally, and we are still going to continue to do that, and we are still going to work with the parties to continually identify all these win-win opportunities from now till the entire life cycle of the project. You know, I've openly said that we will be talking throughout the entire life cycle of the project until the last square yard of concrete is poured in the ground or the last signal goes up or whatever. We can still modify the signal if there's anything you all want to be done differently on the signal, you know, like Uptown, they always want a different kind of signal. Or if you want trees, I mean, I've openly tell everybody the landscape element really need to go until the hardscape is finished. The landscape really don't mix with the hardscape. You know, the hardscape is the concrete and the structures and the columns and the caps and all that have to go in. If you're trying to put trees while we're building all those columns and caps and dust and all that, your tree's not gonna look very good. You know, so typically what we do is we complete all that hardscape work on a project, and we actually let a different project just to put in the landscape element. You will get a better price of it, and your tree will look much better if you do it like that in different stages of the design and the project phase. So I stop there, Chairman Lewis, and I'll pass it back to y'all for comments.
All right, sounds great. So opening up to the committee, to me, Ms. Paul, this looks like you've addressed what we had asked last week, was for you to go back to those 2 letters and pull those sections in, so that it offers an additional clarifying, you know, direction, and we as a committee can see more what I think you all were thinking, but we couldn't see. Comments from others?
Madam Chair.
Council member, yes.
Thank you. And I would like to mention my initial reaction here to what Eliza's presented as a a true good faith effort. And I think the acknowledgement of a lack of being an English major strikes me as me not being an engineer. So I can appreciate the language, and some of this that is so familiar to your world strikes me, first of all, that what you've done to respond to our requests last week, as well as to commit, and that's obviously an important verb here throughout, does recognize a number of things that we've been looking at. I think having thought with our team at the city and some of the discussions that have been relatively behind the scenes, but I think there are some aspects of language that are internal. You used one just now in your explanation, which I hadn't heard before in, I think, the third to last bullet point now in the new draft with this critical stage gate. That sounds like an important term. I don't know quite what it means, but I imagine it's like what we call a milestone or something on the critical path in the language I speak as an architect, a different kind of professional. But with your response, I think there's a number of things that have moved this significantly forward. So I want to thank you for that. But also perhaps appeal to the other members of the TPC and this MOU task force to think about what might need to be further refined, but at the same time, again, thank you for these contributions, because I think it's significant.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Others?
Madam Chair, if I could, I would just offer up, similar to Councilmember Robinson, Eliza, thank you for, in just a matter of a week, turning around, these commitments and doing the work to get this done. For me, it's very helpful to understand the process more now than I did before, as to when, as one of the public commenters mentioned, when alternative or different type typical sections could be considered, and all that. It's very helpful to have that in the document and to understand that more. So thank you.
Thank you. Other committee members? Yes, I tell you, I will
see
use
Chairman
the
Patman's
position of chair.
hand.
I'm gonna,
I see Chairman Patman's hand was up.
okay, good, thank you. I'm gonna call on you just a second, but let me read that. I'm reading in the text that there are people who said they had trouble signing on in time. And should they put comments in the chat? So I would say yes to that. Go ahead and put comments in the chat, and that we will be able to read them. And also I remind them that we will have a meeting. I think you'll hear at the end of this meeting another opportunity for public to come in and comment. So Chair Patman, I can't see any hand raised, so you all will have to help me with that.
Well, thank you so much, Eliza. I mean, this is really terrific. And I think anybody that heard even part of your remarks today at the luncheon would say that your self-deprecation about your command of speaking in English is ridiculous. So anyway, thank you for this. It's beautifully done and really gets us a long way toward where we need to be. Let me just suggest some nits, and then I have an overall comment about something I would love to add if it works. First of all, the first bullet point right now, you were saying we should move, and I think that's great, toward where it has more of a sequence or reference to the FEIS. But focus on it right now, I was thinking we might want to put further before commitments, just because all of these are commitments, and now that it's going toward the end, it might be good to put further in there. And then
so just a second, Chair Patman, where are you saying to put the word further? I want to make sure we all understand where you're suggesting.
now right now it's the first bullet point, but Eliza has suggested moving it on down.
Right.
I was thinking text dots, and then right after that, further commitments.
Oh, further, okay.
Yeah.
Further. Oh, I see what you're saying. So in addition to what we've already seen, essentially.
Yeah, that's more the spirit, particularly when it's moved down. And then, let's see, I caught one nit that this does on the fourth bullet point down. Commit to providing an analysis and update specifics. I was going to put as to, just an as in front of that to there, just because I thought it made it flow a little more smoothly. I mean, that doesn't matter. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay,
I'm good. You're the lawyer, I'm not.
I was gonna say, I don't think anybody's gonna have any objections to that. So we just got in further. We're gonna go back to what's now the third bullet and put the word as in. After specifics.
And then I think the sentence that starts work with other stakeholders in that same bullet point, I think that should be a separate bullet point.
Funny you should say that, Chair Patman, because I thought the same thing. And then as I heard Eliza explain it, what occurred to me is that it still could be, perhaps we could talk about that, but that it specifically relates to the things outside of their purview.
Oh,
I thought maybe if we added something like work with other on these issues, comma, work with other stakeholders, or on these matters, or something like that, that shows it's specifically designed to tie to the elements that are outside of TxDOT's purview.
Yeah, Chairman Lewis, do you want me to explain that again, or go through it one more time, maybe?
Let's see if anybody thinks they need that. Was there another voice?
Well, it could be a sub-bullet under that commit to.
A sub.
So it's still tie it to that.
Tie it to a sub.
To that thought.
Sub-bullet.
But it would separate it.
Right. Right.
And then, okay, going down to the bullet point below that, commit to focus on. Okay, I know what's meant there. And this is one of those key bullet points, because what the community really wants us to do is look at design options or refinements. We don't want to call them alternatives because of the environmental process, but that's really where the rubber meets the road on this. So I just wanted everybody to focus on this one and commit to focus on the design requests. I mean, I wanted to put something in there, and I need the committee's help, showing that we're talking about the options put forth by the community. If the word pending might do that. Commit to focus.
Do you want to, I was thinking, do you want to use the word design refinements, which is the word that we have been doing earlier on, instead of alternatives?
Yes, but what I'm trying to get to there is less the word requests versus refinements as whose design requests. That's what I'm trying to get to there. Just to make clear that this bullet point references the, and I'm avoiding using the word alternative because of the EIS, but is referencing the options and what's been put out there to look at. Because I think that would really beef this up. And I don't know if the word pending would do it, because they are pending.
Karin, what if it was commit to focus on the design requests from the work group? Is that what you're saying? Things that the work group would bring based on?
No, I'm talking about things that Ani Blair and Air Alliance and the community, right. Janice Scott and Susan Graham. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm talking about the community's design requests. And that's where that is important. And that's the whole reason TxDOT has graciously and generously given of its time and changed its procedure to do this MOU. And I
Yeah.
just we need to make it pretty clear.
Just trying to help us get to the clarity part. So, yeah.
Maybe we use the mayor's design requests.
So let me jump in and say where that gives me a degree of pause is that we've got design requests that have come forward to date. I'm suspecting that when we get into it again, we will have more design requests that will come forward. So I would be cautious about indicating that in this document, we're somehow limiting to the designs we already have, because we want to leave ourselves open to additional designs that we may not have thought about. Like I said, again, once we get back in the room and the engineers start putting pen to paper, you know, and the brainstorming starts happening, we may come up with something better than what we've seen already. And I wouldn't want to feel like we're in somehow bound by what we've already got put on the table.
Yeah, that's a really valid point. What about pending and future design requests?
Madam Chairman?
Yes, please.
Let me see if I can offer something, Karin, that might do this. Commit to focus on those design elements which are supported by the community, which need more time to be evaluated and/or take and finish it off. And that doesn't speak to a particular time frame. It speaks to those elements that are supported by the community, wherever they might be, either those identified before or those to be identified in the future.
Okay, I like that, Mayor. Let's see what Councilmember Arnold has to say.
Well, I was just, had been thinking before Mayor Zimmerman said that, is just to put community in front of design, because all of the input is from the community, whether it comes from a county official or a citizen or someone of that nature. So commit to focus on the community design requests.
I really like that.
Okay.
It plays to Eliza's point too about the treescape and some of the amenity features that would be truly, you know, sound barriers, air quality enhancing features, and some of those community related things, as Councilmember Arnold just said. That I like it as well.
And Madam Chair, I was just going to add that maybe just defining it as additional designs, but I think that we're getting to a better place here.
Right. So yes, so we're kind of wrapping ourselves and aligning behind the word community.
Yes.
In front of design.
And from what Mayor Zimmerman said, I mean, that was so well said.
Can you repeat what you said, Mayor Zimmerman? I know sometimes it rolls off and you go back and try to repeat it and you're like, okay, what exactly did I say?
Yeah, here it is, Madam Chairman. Commit to focus on those design elements which are supported by the community, which need more time to be evaluated, or that will take the completion of certain process steps.
Okay.
And we can finish it off.
And possibly additional research. Yeah. I love that. I think it's great. It captures both what Councilmember Arnold said and
right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Okay. I have one other, and it's going to make you smile.
Let me get Eliza to nod that you're okay with that. Is that okay? Are you okay with that one too, Eliza?
Well, the only thing that I'm okay with in general, but I just don't want to be committed to something that I have no idea what it is. You know, it's like,
yeah, so
I
in
mean,
other words,
we are committing to look at different alternatives and everything. That's what we are. And I agree that some of those alternatives may or may not surface yet,
Right.
you know, because somebody could have a great idea and come up with something that really works for everybody, you know, a win-win solution and all that. So I'm good with that. I just don't want to commit to an open checkbook, I guess.
Yeah.
It's all
So in
outlaw.
other words, if we had
Madam Chair.
if we had 1,000 if we had 1,000 design elements, you want to make sure you're not committing to 1,000. And then I think that's
Madam,
where
But
you're
Dr. Lewis, it does say that need more time to evaluate. It doesn't commit to each one of them. It just says we're committing to the evaluation of.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, we are committed to evaluate, look at them.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner.
what about making reference to aligning to the items as defined in Mayor Turner's letter? I mean, it's really an elected official's letter, but it's taken on the name of Mayor Turner's letter. But those things that he outlines, what about making reference as to the alignment with that? That's defined. Eliza sees it.
Right.
There's no ambiguity there.
So let me give a thought about that. You know, we've got that in sort of our background section. And I think what we had asked last week, and then this is just me kind of thinking it through, is that we had asked Eliza to go back and pull from the letters that she had received from the commissioner, Commissioner Ryan, and Executive Director Bass. And I think, I'm just thinking that we probably want to be a little cautious in what we ask her to do that's beyond what they, you know, and quite frankly, we're going to say the people she reports to have written down, you know, and sort of dispensed in the public arena. So that's kind of what I think, just in general, you know, just as a thought. And I don't know what you think about that, Commissioner, but that's kind of my, you know, kind of thinking about what we had asked her to do, what we asked her to start. And so I think we're now kind of making changes at the margin about that, but in specifically putting in the commitment section, you know, I guess I kind of wonder if you really think we need that there.
I just, I guess I'm still at the point of, anyway, I'll just leave it alone.
I know you're at the point of wanting more that you can hold on to and feel confident about.
Well, look, you know, look, I'll just go ahead and say it. I just wish Textile would be a better partner in defining how we want to proceed forward. And it's just incredibly frustrating to see how we have to navigate, you know, what elected officials are saying, what community, the general community is saying, and what environmental experts are saying based on where TxDOT is at. But I will compromise on the point of progress.
But let me before you compromise.
And I wanted to try to apologize, right? Just a minute, council member. I kind of wanted to apologize to the commissioner for trying to maybe put words in his mouth, but I am honestly not sorry that that you actually said what you were really thinking. So I'm going to say that I apologize for how I postured it, but not necessarily for the outcome we got. So thank you. And I hope that you will forgive me for saying what you might have been trying to say.
You're good.
Commissioner, let me say on behalf of Mayor Turner and the city, we appreciate you mentioning that, because, you know, Eliza mentioned that as well in her remarks. And certainly last week we spoke about the importance of Mayor Turner's letter, as it's referred to, you know, a truly collaborative process and something that embodies, you know, not only the 2-page letter, but a 12-page or so appendix of specified items that, like the FEIS, encapsulate much of the specifics that the city holds dear for the important phase that we're moving into. So I'd like to suggest that maybe there is a way somehow to represent that. You know, that there's a fourth bullet here, Madam Chair.
We can include the letter, council member, if I may interrupt. Just include the letter as an attachment to the MOU.
I'm not against that. Certainly not.
I think I'm good with what Mayor Zimmerman come up with. I mean,
Well, of course you are. Of course you are.
So, but I think it is probably fine to include maybe not just Mayor Turner's letter, but Mayor Turner's letter, the letter that came from Harris County, and the letters that came from TxDOT, have all of those letters attached to this document.
Much like we have the FEIS.
Pardon me?
Much like we have the FEIS.
So
I agree, Dr. Lewis. If we attach one, we need to attach all of the pertinent documents.
So what are thoughts there?
We had at the outset of this discussion about the MOU, we had talked about an appendix, or other ways of referencing documents. That I don't know how that might be done. There, we're looking at it now, I suppose. If it's as simple as that, wonderful. The other, and this is back in the category of nitpicking. If you could scroll back up, I was maybe as this is done to that little further. Yeah, a little further, back to the blue. Thank you. Fourth bullet point down. Again, trying to think about the verb in that fourth bullet point with commit to focus. Just thinking about the verb focus, whether evaluate is another thing. It's in that second part of the sentence. If we're, I guess I feel strong enough about evaluating that we're a focus on that is good. We focus on design. We evaluate the designs. I think
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm interrupting. I literally copied the sentence in Commissioner Ryan's letter, word for word, and put it in there. I
well,
really
maybe that's why I liked it so much. Fair enough.
I didn't think I make much addition to that at all, you know.
I agree.
Okay, so I think where we were was to add our fundamentals documents, the documents that actually are the enzymes that led to what we're doing, starting with Mayor Turner's letter, supported by the letter from Harris County.
There you go.
And then the responses from TxDOT as our attachments. And then probably the web link to the FEIS, so that if somebody is pulling this online, they can click to see each one of those informational documents. Does that make sense?
Are there any other reference documents?
I'm unaware, and I'm waiting for others to answer. Dr. Mandapaka, Mr. Wemple.
One possible addition would be the resolution that was passed by TPC, which is what the commitments in the TPC are based upon.
That sounds good.
You know, there's Metronex. I don't think that necessarily needs to be in here, but it is a thought. And I do have an idea for another bullet point.
Okay, so I do think that the link to Metronex should also be here. because we're talking about when people pull the document up online and then they see a reference.
The actual referendum, might be the right thing to put up on.
Okay. All right.
Because it has the list of projects and all of that.
Okay.
So I want to
go
ask.
back and put it, since we're doing this, go back and put an M on referendum, if you don't mind. M instead of N.
The joys of typing.
Thank you, so we don't forget it later. Go ahead. We're not quite ready for the other bullet yet, Chair Patman, because we're attaching things here.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
as you're going through that, I think that the resolution, it was a unanimous resolution by Commissioners Court because it does have details of the design elements that we were interested in. I think that resolution, which is August 29th of 19, I think that resolution would be more appropriate as an attachment versus our letter.
So you said 2019?
Yes, August of 2019.
Okay, so there's an August 7th showing there, Precinct 2 Commissioner Adrian Garcia's Harris County Commissioners Court resolution and request for realignment.
That must be it.
Yeah, all right.
We may have submitted it on the 29th, but passed it on the 7th. Maybe I just got my dates wrong.
Right. Okay, we're pulling that.
Is the resolution itself attached?
It's one of 3 pages. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that should be right.
Can you see it, Commissioner?
Yes. Will you go down all the way down? I just want to make sure.
A little more slowly.
That's good. No, you can continue. It's got Atlas 14. And the signatures don't show.
Okay.
It might be the 3rd page.
This is the 3rd page, probably. This is the last page that we have. So you all can go back and look for what
we'll get you the original.
Commissioner's looking for, right?
Yeah, we'll get you the original.
Okay, all right. Maybe you could stick it there right now as a placeholder and just, make a mental note that we're going to come back and update that document.
Perfect, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so if that gets all of our attachments, if we go back to the blue section, and Chair Patman has another thought.
Okay, well, I have a whole other bullet point that I'm hoping I can get everybody's blessing on. And hold on, because I wrote it down.
Can you scroll back, please? I don't know if Patrick is perfect. Thank you.
Okay, another.
Thank you so much.
That's probably the last bullet points, the last 2 bullet points. And this comes right out of Eliza's and Commissioner Ryan's comments today at lunch, kind of a distillation. Commit to work with the public and all of our partners, including the city, the county, and metro, to improve transit, walkability, and other potential improvements associated with the projects. Because given, Eliza's remarks, mean, this is right in line with that.
I think Chairman Patman, I think I would agree to that. The only exception is I need to add with the, how do I put it in my number 2 there? Work with other stakeholders. I mean, I'm committing to doing that, but I need help from all these other stakeholders in order to come up with the defined process for this additional defined element. So I'm committed to looking at it, but I need help. I am not the only one that can be doing that. You know, as you all know, you're the transit expert, I'm not. And we're not experts in everything. And the other thing, our funding are really just limited to certain elements that we can assign our funding to. So to commit to just all that, you know, I think there need to be some additional add on to that in order to make that work.
Okay.
So, so what about this thought? If we're going to put that one in, what if it goes back under the 3rd bullet where we're talking about the things that are outside of TxDOT's purview? So we've got one sub bullet, so that, Chair, becomes the 2nd sub bullet under the things that are out of TxDOT's purview.
No. Let's do it. How about this? Because it really is broader than that. It's not within TxDOT's sole purview, but there are things that are within its purview. How about, let's just add whatever language would make Eliza feel comfortable with it. Because I see exactly what you're saying, Eliza. And so if we could use the language as it is, commit, but work with, in collaboration with, you know, something that makes clear it's not all on TxDOT's shoulders. Because it's not.
I have one alternative suggestion for this. I like the idea, and Chairman Patman, since you're offering it as a suggestion for what TxDOT would say, but TxDOT's pointing out it's something we would all commit to. It almost sounds like it would be more equitable if we all agreed to one bullet at the end of each of our sections that had the exact same language that showed our mutual commitments. I don't know.
I like.
Yeah, basically cascaded across for equal share of the burden.
Yes, that's an awesome suggestion, Council Member.
To improve, you could put in, well, no, I think I like to improve. Never mind. I was going to suggest a tweak, but no, great.
Okay, so so maybe the way to do this, Dr. Patrick, is scroll back up to the first commitment area and put it in there, and then copy it and paste it under each one. And we have to, now, Councilmember Robinson, you suggested it, so we're under the City of Houston first. So each of you that are representing your entities are going to need to approve of having that additional comment put in, and I think that ought to round us out.
So does that mean you want me to come up with the language that everybody agrees to? That's a tough,
well,
I can do it.
That's a yes too. And I think we can start with what Chair.
Good language. Let's go with this.
Karen, you had it. Let's go for it.
So
Yeah.
start with what you had, Chair, and then we will do the tweaks on it. And then once it's fixed, we'll put it under every section with each entity's approval.
Well, what tweak?
We do have a common section for all member commitments up here. So it's dividing to every member agency. We could add once in this section.
Well, that's an interesting point too. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. That's an interesting point. So the point is, do we put it in the comments section? If we're gonna put it in every single section, then maybe it belongs in the comments section. So that's an interesting thought.
Let's put it in the commitments. That was the idea. I mean, let's not overwork this. It works really, really well as a commitment under each one.
All right, let's do that. So Dr. Mandapaka, please, let's go to the City of Houston. I think they're first. So if you can start our bullet, and either Chair Patman or Councilmember Robinson, whichever one of the two of you is going to wordsmith here, if you would proceed for us, please.
I'll follow the lead of the choir director, Chairman Patman.
Oh boy, you don't want to hear me sing.
Well, you've got the hymnal, and I'm ready to sing. So you tell me what the words are.
Okay. Commit to work with the public and all of our partners, including the city, the county, and metro, to improve transit, walkability, and other potential improvements associated with projects. And so
Chair, slow down a little bit. Our typist is a little behind you.
Yeah.
So commit to work with all partners to improve transit, comma.
Oh no. Commit to work with the public and all of our partners, including, and here's where it would vary according to, but for TxDOT it would be including the city, the county, and metro.
Okay, so hold right there. So this time including the TxDOT, metro, and the county.
Yeah, how about HGAC? They're one of the 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good.
We got 5 agencies.
Okay.
And let's put them all in the same order, perhaps in the sequence that they appear in the commitments section, so they just flow consistently.
Okay, so the
city starts with the county,
and then metro, and then TxDOT. Is that, and then HGAC is last, right?
We need the city in there.
Yeah, but the city's
well, the city
not
is
going to
signing
be
this part.
Yeah, so we leave the city out on the city part, and then on the county part, we leave out the county. And we do the same thing with all 5.
I see. Never mind.
You got it? Yeah.
Yeah. It still captures all 5, but it spreads them out.
Right, exactly.
So let me know, read the rest of
it. And while we're wordsmithing, the word of, all of is unnecessary.
Okay.
Since we're going to craft our comment here, this is the place to edit it.
Yes.
Well, in which case we actually don't probably need our either. We just say in all partners.
We could say all MOU signatories.
Should say that.
Just that way it's the same statement.
It's very specific that way, yes.
Well, you could say that, but I like our partners. Our partners including, it sends a signal that we're all working on this together.
I like it too. And it's unique for each of our agencies.
Yeah, let's do it. All of our partners. So let me know when you're ready for me. It will be tweaked for the individual ones.
Of doesn't need to be in there.
Of should not be in there. Let's take it out.
There you go.
Yay. So make it
to improve transit,
comma, walkability, and other potential improvements associated with the projects.
One more time on the end there, Chair. Did we get it?
To improve transit, walkability,
Yeah, take it from walkability.
and other potential improvements associated the projects.
With the projects, plural or singular?
That's a good question. What does the council member think?
It is the project. It is the
It's a singular, yes,
NHIP
the
project.
NHHIP project,
Yep. The P
singular,
is
yes.
project, so it's the project.
Okay.
I'm going to say it as the city. Commit to work with the public and all our partners, including Harris County, Metro, TxDOT, and the TPC of HGAC to improve transit, walkability, and other potential improvements associated with the project.
Okay.
Eliza, how does that strike you, Eliza?
Well, why are those two singled out? We should work together on everything.
I think, so the idea would be that would be for the city, then the county would have the same ending bullet point where they remove county and they add the city, and then Metro would do the same text.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying why transit and walkability are being singled out.
I guess that was Chairman
everything on
Patman's
the
part.
project. We are supposed to be working together to improve on all elements of the project,
Well,
not just transit and walkability.
Okay, well, I mean, originally I thought you were okay with this, because those are really key parts that aren't necessarily associated in the public's mind with this project, and they are very much a part of it, and we need to underline that. I mean, why not single them out? Because walkability and transit are going to be very much a part of this, and as we move forward, and it's part of your speech. I mean, I could go through your speech and put other things in there that I think more clearly delineate what TxDOT is willing to do in place of other bullet points too. But this one really struck me because it's where I live. And so I think we ought to add it.
But so, I mean, so is flooding and so is relieving traffic.
Yeah.
For us too. Those are equally important to us.
Yes, but those are already dealt with here.
Well, I think they have all been dealt with. I mean, transit and walkability has been mentioned several times in different parts of this document also.
What's the downside? It gives me some peace. I suspect it gives Commissioner Garcia some peace. It will
what is that? What is the upside?
Because it's that we're not going to be myopic in an approach. Normally, in a highway project, the thought is, oh, it's all just going to be a bunch of concrete. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. This just sends the signal that we are going to focus on these other things. And why not put it in?
Well, but Chairman Patman, I don't know if you realize on every single project, we work on, TxDOT work on both the transit and the walkability element on all our projects. On US 290, how many T-Rams and park and ride facilities and also that we built when we are building that, and how many sidewalks and intersection improvement that we did on every single intersections out there on US 290. I mean, we do those things. It makes it sound like that we don't do any of that stuff at all, that it has to be singled out and said that we're not doing any of that. And I just don't think that's right.
Okay, because it's not intended to do that. What it's tended to do is the opposite. So I'm really glad we're talking this through. It's intended to underline TxDOT's continued commitment to that. That's what it's intended to do. So we're on the same page essentially, but we might need to tweak the language.
And I think there's enough language in the document that address those elements already.
Well, I don't. So,
I mean, Metro Next is included in there.
Yeah, but maybe we've got a consensus builder here in Councilmember Arnold.
Well, I think probably, and especially in listening to all of the public comments, that actually saying these words might provide a level of comfort to those partners, those participants. It doesn't suggest that anybody isn't doing these things already. It just says we've heard you and we have included these thoughts, your thoughts, in this document.
So I think that does maybe, Eliza, make some sense, because if you think about, again, why we're even here with this MOU, it's because the public voices we were hearing weren't confident that they were going to actually see all of this done. And so, as is being said, we, especially those of us who work with, you all, we're kind of in a transportation bubble. So we know things that other people don't necessarily know. We know what you've done on 290. We know what you all did with the BRT along Post Oak. We know that. But in general, the people who come and speak to us don't know the things you've done. They don't know that TxDOT builds bicycle lanes. They don't know that. So, just to put it here again is a way to say we've heard what's been said to us over and over. And, the other way to look at it is that the things you all always do, nobody worries about. Nobody worries about whether TxDOT is going to take care of automobiles, right? Or the single person trips. They know TxDOT's going to do that. So that's why you don't hear that. You hear what people are worried about might get lost. So I think in this particular document, if we look at it as, just again, sort of, layering on the commitment to do these things. And we're not saying, like you're right, you could go through and take a highlighter and highlight somewhere else in this document where those things are said. You could do that. We've said it. But it's sort of like it just galvanizes under each individual entity, because everything else is sort of, the background section, the purpose section, the joint section. It's what everybody has, everybody is sort of the point that's pulling all of us in. And then this particular section is each entity's individual commitment. So again, for each individual entity, even though it's been said, previously, to just sort of recommit that to each other and to the public at large. I mean, it doesn't hurt anything, I don't think, right?
I think one thing that Eliza's saying that, it's hard to argue with a point she makes that, TxDOT's going to do everything. But with this statement, Eliza, I think there is value. We've heard certainly in the public speaking, but the state toward the end of what Chairman Patman introduced there with to improve transit walkability, and then here critically, other potential improvements associated with the project. What's nice about that, in the way that she was giving you credit for it with your comments today and the excellent luncheon we went to, was it included things like the trees that you mentioned earlier and all those things. It is a bit of a catch-all phrase, but if we're all singing it with the metaphor of the hymnal and the chorus, it's not singling TxDOT out, but more to your point that we are doing it collaboratively. We are doing it for these things that are important, kind of new commitments that we're all doing together that have not been, highly featured or that recognizable in previous transportation projects. So it's kind of we're stating what aspirationally is at the core of much of what we're all working on.
Mm-hmm. And I think the thing is, we want you to be comfortable with it, right? We don't want to put something in here that you're not comfortable with. So, and if you are really uncomfortable with it, then I think we need to, maybe go back to the drawing board or rethink it in some way.
That's why we're all here as a work group.
That's why we're here as a work group.
Yep.
Well, I mean, we can include it in there. I mean, it will go to our Austin office. They can look at it and see if they have the same impression that I do on it also. I mean,
Right.
I mean, I felt like we're being singled out because, I mean, on I-10, we built the managed lane, which has transit element in it. We built park and ride facilities, the HOV lane that goes in and out of the corridor. I mean, we built sidewalks on every single project, and we have pedestrian elements on every single intersection. And we'll continue to do that, continue to make improvement on everything. And we actually have worked with the city on the pedestrian ramp on the I-45 project to incorporate the bike lane and the pedestrian lane, which is in the commitment of FEIS. It is actually in there. So all those things, we have done it, and we have continues to do it. It just, I mean, I know maybe it's not being highlighted, but it's not with our lack of not doing it.
And absolutely, I absolutely know that to be the case. Councilmember Arnold?
Well, if we were to put it just on the text dot grouping, it would appear to single them out. But if we put it on every section, City of Houston, Harris County, text dot, et cetera, HGAC, then it is spread across the agreement rather than singling out on any one particular agency.
Okay, I'm good with it.
Okay, all right. All right, well, thank you. I know this wasn't easy, right? I know it wasn't easy, but you know, again, if we just, you know, try to keep our eyes on our prize, and our prize is a successful end project, even though it's way, way down the road, that's our prize. We're just way back at the beginning of it. So, you know, thanks for all the compromise. And I think we've heard today that everybody's moving a little bit to try to get to the end game. And that's what it's going to require. So, I mean, yeah, it might sound kind of cheesy here, but you are an awesome group of individuals, and just, I think we just, you know, we represent what this community is and how we're going to work together to get this done. So most appreciated, everybody. All right, so we're going to do a copy and paste, and then change the entities as we go down. So we're under Harris County. So we're going to take out Harris, yep, and put in City of Houston. And then ask Commissioner Garcia, is he giving concurrence for this in the county section? You might have had to take a call, or yes.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'm back. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay. All right, down to Harris County flood control. Oh, they're not named specifically in the first one. And so I guess it basically looks the same. Mr. Poppy,
Yes, ma'am.
you're okay with that?
That works for me.
All right, great. All right, go down to Metro with our copy and paste.
Works for me.
Okay, except we'll take Metro out, put in Harris County needs to go in. There you go, perfect. All right, then we go to the text dot section. You might have an extra bullet in there.
Your previous bullet was blue. if it matters.
Pardon? Oh, right, yeah. Okay, and Chair Patman has already said yes. All right, down to the TPC section.
Houston-Galveston Area Council is good with the proposed addition.
Okay.
Need to add Harris
The
County.
Harris County goes in front of the metro. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, so that takes us through our document. So Dr. Mandacock, you talk through what you're doing here, because I was going to mention we've got the other section just to kind of point out what's there for people.
Yes, so the last section here is terms of the termination clause in there. Right now, we put that as 10 years. We can gather comments if that is an appropriate term limit, or do we want to put another type of wording there?
Open for time and discussion.
Works for me, I think.
I think we batted that around at a previous meeting, and 10 years seemed to be reasonable.
Is it reasonable and renewable? I mean, extendable or anything like that, or just set it as a 10-year term? Or?
Well, I dare say in 10 years it will be probably completely modified, but
Why don't we put in a renew sentence? And I don't know how that should be worded, but
We could put a standard renewal
Yes.
sentence that the MOU could be renewed or extended.
Exactly.
Upon signature by all, agreement by all parties or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope we'll be done building this job in 10 years.
Yay! Yes. Yeah.
I hate to say, but just in case.
I really don't think I'll be around for the next 10 years.
Well, I won't be. Look, I hope I will be, but not doing this particular job.
get my motorized wheelchair and go try it out.
Okay, so if there are no other comments at this moment, then we might be ready for our next agenda item.
So the signatories here, this may be a question to Harris County. Do we add Harris County Flood Control District separately, or just Harris County signing that? But I'm sure, Commissioner, you might have an opinion about that.
It's not the perfect document, but rarely do you have perfection. But I feel comfortable that this may be accepted. I'll have to make sure it goes obviously through our channels, and do need to get our county judge on board, but I will do my part to convince her that it is, it gets us more than halfway there.
Okay, thank you. So what is your thinking about in terms of signatory? Do you think the signatory of Judge Hidalgo there, or is there something additional for flood control, or what's your read on that, please?
No, I think that the judge is obviously our executive, and she speaks for all of Harris County, so I feel comfortable that her signature will immortalize the commitments we've made on the flood control side as well.
Okay, all right, great, thank you. Anything else, Patrick, on this?
I think that is it. I think we came to the end of the MOU language here. So that is the last standard paragraph there, that all signatories are committing to the MOU.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So I will say thank you again. I think we've got something that's going to serve us well going forward. As was mentioned earlier, this is a beginning from every aspect. We've got something else to talk about on our agenda, but I do thank each of you for your contributions. We could not have gotten to this point without every voice that we have and every opinion that we've heard and all the consent that we've had. So most appreciated, not just for TPC, but for our community at large.
Yes. Agreed.
Okay, don't hang up yet. We've got something else to talk about.
So the next item we would like to talk about is the discussion on the timeline, next steps, and the idea of public meeting and how can we insert that into the upcoming timeline. So we are on October 8th today. One idea is to have an evening public meeting on October 15th. And then attorney reviews can, once, because we finalized the working draft today, I can send that final draft to everyone today. And we can have a deadline of November 2nd for attorney reviews. And then I collect those comments and send it back, the comments, to everyone by November 6th. With that, we'll be able to have another work group meeting if needed, sometime in mid-November, probably November 12th. And then we can aim to go for TPC action in November with an idea that everybody can sign the MOU by December. So that timeline puts us that by the end of the year, we'll be able to have a signed MOU.
Okay.
Can I ask one maybe dumb question about the date of the public meeting? I know that October 15th time I hadn't heard till just now, and I know I have a conflict personally. I'm on a panel discussion at 6 p.m. I'd love to be at the public meeting, and wondered if our next TPC meeting might be an alternative time to have the public meeting, or if that's just the best time already vetted and works with everybody else. I don't know.
I agree with Councilmember Robinson. I know we talked about the value of having an evening meeting to afford more public comment, but the October TPC meeting might be a good place to have that public meeting rather than a separate meeting. For time, everybody's got time constraints and obligations, so just throwing it out there. Kind of echoing what Councilmember Robinson said.
Others?
Chairman, I also have a question on the public meeting. What kind of format is that public meetings going to be? I mean, it's just say, how are you all planning on doing that? Is it just a listening session or?
So remember, the suggestion had come up last week, and so we had kind of had some head nodding around it. I feel like at this point we have committed to it. The thing we're talking about, the date and time had not been vetted. We talked last week about doing it during an evening time to sort of allow for people who work, who work all day. Because we're on this particular calendar, and I think the Thursday had been chosen because we've been meeting on Thursdays just as a matter of course. But to answer your question about the format, it is largely it is listening. It would be to present the document. So I'm sure that what would occur, and Mr. Wimple and Dr. Mandapak could kick in here, but we would present the document in its sections and then allow for feedback from the public. So
I think kind of a listening session, like you maybe allude to, Eliza, where the information is presented. We hear feedback from the public. HGAC, of course, can handle all the logistics of that. Councilmember Robinson mentioned the 15th. That was just offered up as a potential. We could move it out a week to the 22nd if we wanted to keep like a Thursday evening, type option, and still have time, I think, to keep the other parts of the schedule.
So the thing that says, though, Mr. Wimple, is that we have to make sure we have quorum, or do we? I mean, if it's a public meeting, then maybe we don't have to have quorum.
We would not be taking action at the meeting. We'd be receiving input from the public.
So the quorum, while desirable, isn't necessary for us to have the public meeting.
So, evening kind of pleasure of the work group, evening or expanding a TPC opportunity, could be something to consider. I think the intent with the evening at one point was to allow members of the public who might have an easier time attending in the evening to be able to provide comment.
It looks like the following Thursday on the 22nd is a date that currently I have more available. And I'd like to attend whenever it is. I'd like to be there. So from my personal standpoint, either at the TPC meeting or that following Thursday, the 22nd, would work. But 15th is a little quick. I know we're still digesting the FEIS and all the rest. So
the 22nd also allows sufficient time to do a proper promotion of the event as well too. And HGAC can handle that, of course, through our communications department, but that would give extra time to make sure we get the word out. And we should also anticipate, additional public comment at TPC, as well. So.
Okay, is there any objection to the 22nd voices? Chair Patman, I think this was a lot.
Whatever everybody wants to do is fine with me. I want to do what Eliza wants to do. She was so nice to ultimately go along with that deal. So I want to have it whenever Eliza wants to have it, and I will show up.
Me too. When do you want to do it, Eliza?
Well, no, that's not. I would just really just mention on October 22nd, there is a Scenic Houston celebration. I don't know if anybody is part of that. I just want to mention that there is something over there.
Is that the evening though too? Is it evening?
It's at 6:30. I have that on my calendar as well, but I thought I could come to the first half, or we could do it from 5:30 to 6:30 maybe, or have it longer than an hour, whatever. I don't.
I'm supposed to be at the Scenic Houston deal, but I obviously haven't looked at my calendar. I do that. I just overcommit.
Thank you, Eliza, for mentioning that.
Hard to find a perfect.
Don't we all, Dr. Lewis?
That's true. It is really hard to find a perfect date. Yes, it is. All right. So
it would be good to nail one down though, so we can start the effort.
We do need to nail it down, and I guess we need to hear voices, honestly.
We could start it at 5:30. I mean, not everybody could participate, but they could.
Yeah, why don't we do the 22nd from 5:30 and maybe just kind of try to say 5:30 to 7:30.
Okay.
And then Scenic Houston, I don't know exactly what time it starts, but
I had it for 6:30, but
Yeah,
6:30 to 8
Then-
or something like that.
And we'll-
8:30.
And we can record it and we can make sure that
Yeah.
the team at HGAC keeps track of, the comments and everything, of course, and those members that can attend and participate as they can during that time frame, would
Right.
be welcome, but there wouldn't be any action on the agenda.
Right. Exactly.
A true listening session with time set aside to hear from the public.
Okay.
Another question is, now that we have a working draft finalized, would we like to present this at the TPC October meeting as information?
Madam Chair?
Just, Commissioner, just a second, there's a question on the floor that Patrick had about timing and presenting at something, but you faded out, Patrick, and I didn't hear where you said present at. So I don't know if you need to check.
At the upcoming October TPC meeting, do we like to present this as an information item?
I think we can. Yes, so yes. Okay.
That'd be the day following, and that should be fine.
Yeah, okay. Commissioner?
Yes, Madam Chair, I was just going to say that I just want to make sure I apologize, I'm looking at my calendar as the conversation was going, and there's several conflicts, but I think Councilmember Robinson will tell us that the city, from what I can tell, is going to be doing some public sessions around this very thing, correct, Councilmember Robinson?
Certainly going forward, trying to get what we can done before the next TPC meeting, Commissioner. And I know your team, my team, our teams are, entrenched with this business now. So we're looking forward to moving forward together. I don't know if you have something specific in mind that I'm missing.
No, just in terms of figuring out calendars and seeing if maybe we can piggyback on some of this. I'm just trying to, I will figure out my calendar, but.
Are you okay on the 22nd? Right now we're saying 5:30. But let me ask this question. Can we start at 5? Because a whole lot of people aren't going to work on the normal schedule anymore. I mean, there are people who are for sure, but a lot of folks who are working daytime could start. So some of them would be ready to, they might work a 7 to 4 or something. So we might could even start at 5.
I think our experience has been, Madam Chair, if we truly are going to be accommodating the public and individuals who might be working a day shift, type of job, allowing at least a little bit of time to even end that shift and grab a bite to eat or whatever, if it's going to be going till 7:30. Our experience has been 5:30 is about the earliest that you'd want to start.
Okay, all right.
If that is the true intent to provide that opportunity. So.
All right, okay.
I would just offer that up from our experience.
Cheerfully receive that. You can tell I'm a person who doesn't necessarily worry about when to eat, right? That comes kind of later.
Yeah.
But all right, well, that's fine.
You look like it. It's a good thing.
I'll just mention, Madam Chair, that I am already booked for a town hall meeting on evictions at that very time. So I will, my staff will be online monitoring the meeting, but regretfully, I've already got a conflict.
Good. And I think that's an important point for everyone who has a staff who can monitor on their behalf. Yeah. That will be well received. So thank you. Okay.
Madam Chairman, can I ask a question? I heard that the city of Houston was going to have several meetings around the same time. Does anybody have the dates and time of those? Because we're not aware of some of them.
So Councilmember Robinson had just said that he does not have that information at this point. So I don't think any of us feel as if we're in a position where we could provide more information.
Actually, I've just been alerted to the chat space. The City of Houston has community engagement meetings scheduled for 10:20 at 6 p.m., 10:22 at 1 p.m., and Saturday 10:24 at 10 a.m. So it would appear that the evening that we're talking about on 10/22
would work.
Would still work, yeah, for us. Busy day, busy time.
And hi, I hate to
Thank you.
break in. This is David Fields from the city of Houston. I was, if it's not inappropriate, I thought I would just give some context for those meetings.
I think that would maybe be well, Mr. Fields. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So those sessions are to explain where we are in the process, as well as help the community work through the FEIS, which is a substantial document, and we, all the work that is in there. We are a little bit concerned that having 2 meetings about NHHIP literally on the same day, hours apart, will be difficult for the public to differentiate between the two. We are living in this world and the acronyms mean a lot to us. But if there is any flexibility to go back a week and separate it, we think it would be doing right by the public.
Let me say thank you for letting us know, and then I want to do a big sigh. So
Me too.
we worked really hard to get to this one date on the 22nd, and so we're trying to accommodate so much, and it's very difficult.
Madam Chair, I would just interject that I think we can still keep it on the 22nd and not have confusion with people. This is a unique opportunity in the evening to hear the memorandum of understanding that's been developed by this work group and these parties. And also I don't plan on using acronyms in our materials, just to let you know what's out there. I really think that if we did move it back to the 15th, that might not provide the ample time for people to prepare for it,
yeah, that's true,
to be at it. And I would still.
Did you watch the weather thing?
Okay. All right. So I'll tell you what, Mr. Fields, thank you. I think we're just going to have to, accept this as a difficult thing that happened, and we're, working under such a short time frame, and appreciate the cities setting up the sessions to explain the FEIS. That is absolutely and positively needed. And so hopefully there are enough people that maybe they can kind of split out, because I think the people who want to speak to the MOU have probably been following it a little bit more closely than maybe, I think there clearly will be some people who would want to come to both, but the fact that you all are doing a lot of sessions, maybe it will help those who want to come speak to the MOU to see if they can attend yours either on the 20th or the 24th. And then,
Yes.
and then again, that would leave the other date for folks who want to speak to the MOU. So I think
Yes, the memorandum of understanding is more than the final environmental impact statement.
exactly. And there are 3 dates for that. So maybe people could kind of look at the 3 dates and pick one of the other 2 if they'd like to come on the 22nd.
They'll all be virtual, so it shouldn't be an issue.
That's true. That's true. Okay. Do we have anything else?
There's
Patrick,
only one other thing I want to mention. The November 2nd day and the November 6th. Our attorney really don't work on my timeline.
Yeah.
They have their own timeline, the AGs. So I will try everything we could to get them to do that, but I really don't have no control of their timeline, so we'll do everything we can to try and make those time. But I just want to mention, I don't know if the other lawyers work like that too, but our AG, they're on their own. They got a lot of different cases that they work on. So just want to mention that.
Okay, that is a well-received comment. And that's why I think Patrick said, as soon as this gets cleaned up, he'll forward it to you. So at least we can say they get started on whenever they choose to, but they will have it in their inboxes by tomorrow, maybe. Okay. All right, anything else?
That is all I have right now.
Madam,
Okay, that's all Patrick has. I heard another voice.
Yes, ma'am. This is Janice Scott, and I only mentioned this. It does not make any difference to me.
I'm gonna allow you to make this, but let me just say that this is not a time for public. At this moment, once we close the public comments, we really don't welcome input from others. I did accept
Oh, I'm
David
sorry.
Fields. I did accept David Fields
This
because he could speak to the meetings that we were kind of pulsing around here. But
oh, this is,
can you, if you have the capacity, can you do a chat?
put it in the chat. Oh,
Yeah,
let's see.
go
I don't
ahead.
know if I have that. It was
Okay.
just about the date. That's all.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we
That-
probably need to we probably need to close out on the dates, because if we hear anything else, we'll just get more set back. And I think we probably need to just move forward at this point, because we're trying to get a lot done in a short period of time. So I think we're going to need to move forward. But
It's not,
thank you. And I'll tell you what, either send me an email or send it to Patrick or something, so we can hear what you wanted to express, and then see if we can, get back with you on that.
and it is certainly not the final opportunity, as you mentioned earlier, Chair Lewis. This is just a special meeting to help provide even more opportunity, and there's going to be additional opportunity going forward as well. So it's not the last time.
Absolutely.
No, this was not a comment
She
from
said
me
this was
personally.
about dates. She said this was about dates.
Yeah.
So,
Just
okay.
so you all would be aware, just so you would be aware of that date. The Metro board meeting is on the 22nd that morning. That could be an opportunity to get the word out. And then that evening is also the presidential debate
Okay. All right. Thank
that
you.
has just been moved to that day. But just so you're aware of it, it doesn't make any difference to me one way or the other. I love the 22nd, 5:30 to 7:30. That's fine. But just so
Great.
you would know.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
That's all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Janice.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So I think that's about it for us, correct?
Yes, Madam Chair.
All right. So I'm going to call us adjourned. I'm going to thank you, everyone, again. The next time we meet again will be the 22nd. And so we will look to see everyone then. And thank everyone for all of their comments, participation, and the like. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good day, all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.